Hi, Michelle. It's nice to meet you. Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you.
Now, my first question before we get started, have you ever had any experience with career counseling before?
No, not really.
No? Okay. Do you have any expectations for today?
No, I just am, just kind of thinking about, just kind of getting my head around some things and
Okay. Okay. So, what brought you in?
just trying to make some choices as I'm finishing up a master's degree and just wanted to look at the possibilities of, what I might do next.
Hmm, perfect. Sounds good. So, before we get started with anything today, I just want to give you a brief overview of what the couple sessions we're going to have is going to look like. So, today, just going to get to know you a little bit more. We'll go over your education, maybe some career history, maybe living situations, and then I'm going to give you a couple career assessments at the very end, send you home with those, and the next time we meet, we'll come back and discuss them. So then in that session, we're going to go over the assessments and go over them a little bit more in depth than usual and apply that to your career and whatever you're looking for. And then in the very last session, after all of that, we're going to look at your goals and maybe identify some potential career paths or however you want to continue in the future.
That sounds great.
Perfect. So while we are getting started, can you just tell me a little bit about your educational background?
Well, I did a lot of school hopping when I was much younger. Just was having financial difficulties, and I ended up going to a school system that was mostly paid for by the state
Okay.
eventually. So, but I didn't get a BA. I just came very close to it, and then I got a job in the industry that I was working in, and I just went ahead and took that job. But I went back to school recently, and I graduated from California University of Pennsylvania with an AA and a BA in sociology with a concentration in deviance. And then I went right into the master's program for clinical mental health counseling. And that's where I'm finishing now. So, yeah, so I want to go forward in that career with counseling.
Awesome. That's great. Is this something you've always been interested in?
It's not a career path I thought I would ever take. It's just something I came to later in life, and it's sort of like a passion for me now. But when I was younger, it wouldn't have been something that I thought, you know, I would have been there. So
It's awesome. Good for you for just jumping right in from your bachelor's and going in straight in from to grad school. That's definitely takes a lot. So
mhm,
that's awesome. Good for you.
thank you.
What had you seen yourself doing before, since you said this wasn't initially what you had planned?
Well, I've always been to some extent an entrepreneur, even when I was working in my chosen industry. I, was always a contract worker and would go from company to company. And then when I started my own business, I did that for like 22 years. I still do it now. I just not to
Cool.
the same degree.
Mhm.
But so when I decided I wanted to go into the helping professions, I really wanted to focus on private practice more so, and then I could still be an entrepreneur to some extent and have you know a little bit of freedom as well to make my own way with that. So I'm kind of keeping that entrepreneurial spirit with that, and also looking to combine uh, my work as an artist with working with people in sort of the expressive arts as well,
Oh,
uh,
wow. Yeah,
in counseling. So
that's great. And you said you're coming up towards the end of your master's degree?
yeah, pretty close. I won't finish this year. I hope I'll have the degree by the end of December, so the end of the fall semester.
Sure. It's definitely something you don't want to rush.
Mhm.
Are you enjoying it so far?
It's just fine.
Do you find it meaningful?
The actual work is it's just work, but I do find what I'm getting from the work to be broadening my view of things exponentially. So yes, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. And then off of that, a little bit, maybe can you tell me a little more on your career history side?
Yeah. Well, I just when I want to to do something in a certain arena, I just sort of get in the game and do it. So even before I started working to finish a BA that was in this field,
Mhm.
I started doing so work in like community centers and getting grants to work with different services that were, social helping services. And so I've done that every step of the way. Like even when I was working as an artist earlier in my life, I always just found a way to just start get in the game and work in that area. So I've always had that kind of career trajectory. So now I'm getting closer to getting an actual license to just be more focused.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
Does that answer your question? I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, you're good. There's definitely a theme there, obviously, of the helping careers, and it's really interesting. And I find it very fascinating that you want to incorporate, your art with that also. That's awesome. Living situation wise, is there anything that we need to consider as far as where we're going for career exploration?
Well, I really want to stay in this area.
Okay, and
I
where you're from?
have a house, Washington, Pennsylvania. So I'm, right near the Pittsburgh metropolitan area. This zone.
Right. And I guess how far are you maybe willing to travel for either a career or another program? Is there any limitations?
Um, I only like like commute distance. I want to stay here.
Okay. Be able to commute.
Uh-huh.
Perfect. And is there anything else that might potentially impact, where we end up going as far as, do you have children? Do you have a job that you need to consider as far as hours?
Um, no, I'm pretty. I have freedom of my time, so I don't have constraints.
Okay, perfect.
Like that.
Awesome. So we definitely want to stay close to Washington, Pittsburgh area, and there's going to be a lot of opportunity there. So that's great. Are there any health or physical concerns that we need to be aware of?
Mm, no, not that I'm aware of.
All right. Is there any information that I didn't ask that you think might be important going into this?
Well, I just want to look at salaries and stuff
Oh,
for potential
absolutely.
outcomes, and that's pretty much what I like to just compare what it would be
Mhm.
for maybe a counselor, and also maybe if I went on to more schooling as well. So,
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Perfect. And that's definitely something we can get into. As I mentioned earlier, what I'm going to do at the end of this session, I'll shoot you an email with a list of the different assessments. They'll just take a couple of minutes. They're not hard. You're not going to get a grade on them or anything. And then we'll go through those. And then in the following session, so the third session, we can look into salary and requirements for positions, or even if you choose to continue your education. Is there anything else question wise or that you want to look into?
um, the assessments, what do those? What are they? What type are they?
Well, the first one I'm going to send you is a personality assessment. It's called 16 Personalities. It's based off of Myers-Briggs. And then the second one is through your program, so CalU, and it's called the Focus 2. And there's several different aspects of it. It's going to look at things like your values, work interests, leisure, another personality one, and I can't remember the last one. Skills.
Oh, great.
And we will go through all those and apply it to career exploration and go from there.
That sounds really good. Oh, I'm excited to do them. Sounds fun.
Awesome. Perfect. Well, it was nice getting to know you a little bit better during this first session, and I will shoot you an email.
Oh, great. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Hi, Michelle. Welcome back.
Hi there.
How did the assessments go?
Good. Yeah, good.
Good.
I enjoy doing them.
You enjoyed them?
Hmm.
Awesome. Did you have a favorite?
Oh, I always like to do the Myers-Briggs type question, the 16 questions.
Personality one? Awesome.
Yeah, just because, it could change over time, like as you get older, and it was interesting to do that
Sure.
now.
Absolutely. Were there any issues with them or did you find them pretty easy?
It was pretty easy.
Perfect. Any results that maybe caught your attention right away or
Mm,
surprised you?
No, I think it was pretty much in line with what I thought it would be, which surprised me.
Okay,
So, yeah.
awesome. Well, I'm going to pull them up and we'll get started and kind of go over them a little bit. I put them into a PowerPoint just to give you a better visual. I guess I have to share my screen. Okay. Oh, spinning wheel of death. Okay, can you see that?
Yeah, it's great.
Try to put you up in the corner. And if I have you over top of anything, just let me know and I can move you around.
No, it actually looks okay. I could see the whole presentation.
Okay, perfect. All right, so let's get started. Oh, geez. Okay, so just an overview. Like I mentioned, we're going to go over your 16 personality assessment first. We'll go into the specific traits that you got, the roles and strategy, and then your specific personality type. And then next, we'll go into the Focus 2 from Cal's page, the Career Center, and look at those 5 different assessments. All right. So for your 16 personalities, you got ENFJ. Sorry, oh no. Keep hovering over top of the reading. Okay, so to go through each of the traits individually, we have you at 52% extroverted, 48% introverted. That's obviously pretty close. Do you feel like that's pretty realistic, or do you find yourself more outgoing or more to yourself?
I think it just really depends on the situation. I can be pretty, if I'm in a social situation, I don't have too much trouble with it. And if I spend time alone, I don't have too much trouble with that either. So it
Mhm.
looks about right.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I found that interesting how close it was.
Mm.
I think that's the only one that was super similar. Yep. Okay. So then intuitive, 80%, observant would be 20, thinking 24, feeling 76, judging was 67, prospecting 33. And then these were the last two. So where it's hyphenated with the A or would be T. It's assertive or turbulent. You had 74% assertive. And to go into that more specifically, your extroverted was your mind aspect, so how we interact with our environments. And as you said, you find yourself pretty outgoing depending on the situation. So that seems to make a lot of sense. Energy is where we direct our mental energy, and yours was intuitive. So to explain that, you are very imaginative, open minded, curious, and prefer novelty over stability and focus on hidden meanings and future possibilities. Do you find that pretty accurate?
That sounds pretty accurate. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna move this down. Sorry if you can see that.
Okay.
All right, the next one's nature. So that's how we make our decisions and cope with our emotions. And you scored highest on the feeling. So to look at that more specifically, your feelings, you're a feeling individual. So you're sensitive, maybe emotionally expressive, you're more empathetic, less competitive than thinking types, and focus on social harmony and cooperation. What do you think about that one?
That's dead on. Yeah.
That on? Sometimes it's a little scary how accurate these are.
Yeah, I think so. That's why I was so surprised when I read through some of the things. Yeah.
Yeah, right. All right. Tactics. So, how we approach work, planning, and decision making. You scored highest in the judging aspect. So, judging individuals are decisive, thorough, highly organized. They value clarity, predictability, and closure, prefer structure and planning to I cannot say that word.
Spontaneity.
Spontaneity. Do you find yourself pretty highly organized or?
For the most part, I do. Yes. Yeah.
All right. And then lastly, the hyphenated aspect. So the identity, showing how confident we are in our abilities and decisions. You scored highest in the assertive aspect. So you're self assured, even tempered, resistant to stress. They refuse to worry too much and do not push themselves too hard when it comes to achieving goals. Pretty accurate, or maybe
I
not?
mean, I think it's pretty accurate, but this was the one maybe I thought, I don't know, you know, it,
Okay.
it kind of seems like it could be one way or the other at different times. I am like that, but I also, I do push myself pretty hard. That's the only aspect of that. But
Okay.
I do know how to relax and not worry at the same time. So it's kind of, I guess it's right.
All right, so then we're going to go into specifically the role, the strategy, and your specific personality type when it comes to career paths. So let me see if these links work. Perfect. Okay, so the first one, oh no. Okay.
Loading.
So, diplomat. It's loading very slowly. All right, so essentially, you maybe long for connection, strive for change, you're altruistic, compassionate, and understanding, which plays a big role into maybe why you're entering the helping field.
Mhm.
You believe it's possible to create a kinder world and strive to do so every day. Optimistic, you have maybe a higher purpose. And then it also talks about creative expression. So using different forms of art. So that sounds pretty spot on for you.
Yeah.
But overall, I would say pretty accurate. What would you think?
Yeah, I mean, I I think it's nice to hear that terminology, diplomatic, because yeah, I do think that I am pretty diplomatic. So I think I balance out two different sides pretty easily.
Awesome. Let me pull up the next one, which is the strategy. And your strategy was people mastery. So you're bold and confident. Again, it says you're known for your ability to handle stress. Here it says you might become too confident, so that might be something to watch.
Yeah, it sure would be. If I wasn't worrying so much and having to be resilient.
Right. Finding a balance. Mm, Speaking up. So speaking your opinions, saying what you think, or thinking what they say. Um, Going for it. So seeing problems as opportunities,
Definitely, that's definitely true. Yeah.
taking on difficult challenges, kind of pushing yourself. All right. So, did you find the strategy aspect to be pretty consistent with your life, or how did you feel about that one?
Um, Pretty good. I think the whole confidence issue is just if I feel like I'm getting the right information, then I could be
Mhm.
confident. You know what I mean? But
Okay.
I'm just thinking about what kind of transitions I might be making after graduating. So,
Sure.
you know,
Absolutely.
I don't know how confident I am yet with the new changes, but
Mhm. All right. And the last thing for the 16 personalities, I just pulled up your personality type. So again, that was the ENFJ. And looking at specific career paths for this personality type. Let me scroll down to show you those. I can find where they were. Hmm. Hmm. I do not know where they went. No, I'm just reading. Oh, it was in the second sentence.
Okay.
Geez Louise. Okay. So, like we mentioned back a couple slides back, you are altruistic. So, just participating in careers like social and religious work, teaching, counseling, and advising others. So, that's pretty spot on for, again, the helping career where you seem to be going, the path you're going down. So far, it seems like, you are on the right path, and the degree you have chosen to go with and career in general is definitely very fitting for your personality type. So that should be reassuring.
I hope so, yeah, because it's such a new thing that it is reassuring to hear.
Awesome. Let me close out of this. All right, so then to go specifically into the Focus 2 assessments, which was through the Career Center. The first one was the work interest assessment. So your results for this showed that you were in the artistic, social, and investigative aspects. So artistic, where they're known as the creators. They prefer to be expressive and like the opportunity to create new things and be innovative, which is, you're an artist, you enjoy the expressive arts. So that definitely makes sense to me. I'm sure it makes sense to you too. Um, Again, being imaginative, creative, then listing some common activities that you might enjoy. Social, and also known as the helpers, preferring to work with other people as a team to approach problem solving, enjoying teaching, caring for others, volunteering, etc. And kind of, again, going into the helping career.
Mhm.
And lastly, investigative, the thinkers have a strong desire to understand cause and effect, solve puzzles and problems, often work in jobs that are scientific in nature, love work that involves the use of the analysis of data using formulas, graphs, and numbers. Did any of those stand out to you or surprise you?
Well, yeah, I mean, I love to solve puzzles and problems, but I'm not as big on the math uh, a- and analysis of data. I mean, I do actually enjoy it, but I'm not like I wouldn't consider myself somebody who is really a math type of person. But I get it. I can see why. I like to think abstractly. Yes. Yeah.
And then you can see yourself in the other two areas also, artistic and social.
Yeah, those seemed like all of this when I saw it, I was like, yeah, that's pretty much me. So
Perfect. Awesome.
the only thing I was surprised by was the math
Oh,
stuff.
the math stuff. And going off of that, that brings us to one of the career theorists we know as Holland. So this just brings up a hexagon, part of his theory. It shows where you would fall. So social or helper, artistic creator, an investigative or thinker. On his hexagon, the different areas closest together are things that you would best fall in, things on the furthest side. So for instance, on the opposite side from socials, the realistic. So that might be something not ideal for you because it's on the other side, completely opposite of it.
Yeah, yeah.
And then going into on that, there's some examples of sample careers. I think you can probably see those, but for
Yeah.
instance, social helpers. So maybe a teacher, counselor, trainer, artistic, singers, actors, editors, and then the investigative, surgeon, biologist, engineer, etc. So I again, a lot of, helping. So the counseling, the art that you've participated in, definitely pretty consistent to the different themes that you've been through with your life, through your education, and also different careers you've had so far.
Yep, it looks right. Yeah.
All right. The next one is your values assessment. So the top three values that you had were artistic creativity, so being able to express creative ideas through the arts, helping others, being involved in helping other people in a direct way, whether it's individually or even in a small group. And then lastly, independence. So being able to decide on how to get something done without significant direction from someone else. You feel like
That's
still.
interesting. That's interesting because of that whole entrepreneurial aspect.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Definitely ties in. Again, very consistent themes through education and career, and bringing in the entrepreneurship with the independence is definitely another theme to include. Anything stand out, surprise you? Seems pretty consistent.
Yeah, it does. I would say it's interesting to see it laid out like that and
Mhm.
divided. But yeah, that looks like me.
Perfect. And going off your values, it is really important to, pursue a career that meets or matches your values. You're going to find a career most fulfilling if it meets your values in a sense. All right, so another personality assessment. This one says you are orderly, pay close attention to the facts, and like to have a clear understanding of the objectives of a project. You care about the well being of others and are tactful, sympathetic, aim to provide practical help, prefer to collect facts and information before making decisions. You like accuracy and clearly stated information. And you're committed to meeting your obligations and take responsibility. Anything there seem.
I'm not always as
Or
tactful as I'd like to be, but I do relate to all all of
okay,
that. Yeah.
good, good. And then at the bottom, if you read, there are some examples again of different occupations that would best match your personality. And like the other ones we've read, they're very consistent. Health services, teaching, human resources, community service, counseling, and in different areas of business, even.
Mhm.
So, again, very good. All right, and this one is your skills assessment. So, your skills were the fine arts, painting, drawing, crafting, sculpting, and creative design. You've already voiced, you're a very artistic individual. You enjoy the arts, so that definitely makes sense. Helping, actively looking for ways to help people, again, plays into very like several aspects as far as education, career, everything, and teaching others how to do something. Is that something you also?
Yeah, I have been working as like a teaching artist. It's like when you're 70% a studio artist and then you do like 30% of your time basically as working in the schools as,
It's awesome.
like a working artist teaching. So, yeah, that very much describes me.
That's awesome, and it's kind of like combining all three aspects all together.
Yeah, it's really really cool.
That's awesome. Have you ever thought about teaching after your degree?
I kind of was thinking about that. I don't know. I'm kind of knocking it around. So hopefully we can look at that.
Sure, absolutely. The next one So your leisure came up for inquiring. So again, the thinkers, aesthetic, the creators, and sharing, the helpers. So for inquiring, you like to be involved in activities that have to do with ideas and thinking and search for facts and figure out problems mentally, observing, learning, investigating, analyzing, evaluating, or solving problems. For the aesthetic, the creators, again, being creative, enjoying things like writing, painting, the arts in general, and then sharing, or the helpers, helping other people, advising other people, being concerned about their welfare, promoting learning and personal development. So again, very, very consistent and reflects also off of your work interests quite a bit, your values, the skills, personality in general. Anything there?
I was surprised that it didn't come out AIS, but just hearing you read through the inquiring, I was really like, that is pretty true. I spent a lot of time in that area, so it does make sense.
What you expected for the aesthetic to come first?
Yeah, yeah, but I can see, just because of the way I think it's like I think a lot even before I create, and all of that sort of thinking goes into the creation. So I
Yeah,
can see that, yeah.
sure, absolutely. Okay. All right, so the next step we're gonna do is look at your combined assessments that we just did from the Focus 2. It's gonna provide you with a list of potential paths that you can go down that were common from someone with your results. But before we go into that, I just wanna remind you, based off of some of our career theorists, Super says that it is important that we choose a career that allows the expression of your self-concept. And I hope these assessments were able to give you a better idea of what your self concept looks like, and hopefully, we can find you a career that matches this. And
Great.
also, sorry,
No?
also, Parsons trait factor theory says that if we can find a career that matches our values and beliefs and personality, so different things that we've looked through already, we'll find it most fulfilling and successful. So if you have any more questions, we'll get started.
Sounds good.
Let me pull up the combined assessment. I do not have that in the PowerPoint. Little things in the way. Okay. Can you see that okay?
Yeah.
All right. So this was the results of your 5 assessments from the Focus 2 combined. So as you see, there were no occupations that had all 5 of your results and none that had all 4, but that's nothing to be worried about. That's very, very common. It's highly unlikely that you'll find something that matches all 5 areas 100%.
Okay. I was wondering about that.
So, to go off of your 3 assessments, some things that I'm seeing, art therapy sounds wonderful. I mean, you're in the clinical mental health program. You enjoy, expressive arts. You find yourself are very artistic, enjoy helping others. So that's wonderful. Off of that, music therapy even. I don't know if you enjoy music at all, or
Yeah, very
yeah,
much so. Mhm.
another form of art.
Hmm.
Let's move down. An admissions counselor, if that's something maybe you'd be interested in. A lot of different teaching positions, so different types of professors. Another professor,
Hmm.
teachers, more counselors, a vocational counselor, clinical sociologist, communications professor. So a lot of them seem to go along the lines of different things we've seen as far as the helping careers. And you mentioned you enjoyed teaching, and that's something that you find very important. So that definitely is something to consider. And like you mentioned, you want to explore the possibility or the
Mhm.
potential of continuing your education and going forward and maybe teaching here in the future. And based off of these assessments, it's definitely something that should be fairly realistic off of your beliefs and values and personality in general.
That's great. That's really a nice thing to see there. So helps me narrow down my
Yeah,
thinking a little bit.
absolutely. Again, educational therapists, some other professors, but yeah, you get the gist.
Yeah, even horticultural therapists there.
Hmm.
That's interesting.
So, did you have any questions about these assessments or anything that you wanted to go back and check before we maybe start wrapping up a little bit? And I'll give you a brief idea of what we're going to do during the next session and what to look forward to, but just wondering to make sure if you had any questions or anything.
It seems pretty clear, actually. It's really reassuring that it seems so clear. So
Okay, awesome. So, based off of how we went into all the assessments, you feel like everything made sense for the most part. There wasn't anything that really surprised you.
not really. No, I'm interested. It does interest me though that some of those the thinking elements came up more than the artistic, but I do see how that works, so I think that's, and it almost explains a little bit more why I'm where I'm at right now.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely, there's a lot to think about, but it seems like things are looking out really great for you, and you're on the right path from what we're seeing through your assessments and your education, your career path. You're definitely taking the right steps, and it should be really exciting. So, just to kind of give you a brief idea of what we're going to do during the next session. So, the next session, we're going to go a little more in depth for specific career exploration, whether that is continuing your education after your master's degree or maybe potentially getting a career in the field. So, whatever that looks like for you, looking at the specific careers, maybe their outlook, salaries, different things like that. And on the other hand, if you want to do some continued ed, we can look at different programs, their requirements, and go from there.
That sounds perfect.
Do you have any questions?
Not that I could think of.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll see you during the next session, Michelle.
Great, thank you.
Hi, Michelle. Welcome back.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good. Did you have a chance to think any more about your career exploration or make any plan for today?
Yeah, for today I was thinking about the assessments and everything that we did and just giving some more thought to what my options are right now,
Okay.
and thinking, there's that whole entrepreneurial aspect where, I'd like to get my license and do private practice, but I
Okay.
also kind of wanted to maybe look at, since I had some of that other teaching stuff in there, what the process might be if I wanted to look into maybe getting a PhD, and what might be a good program, just something local.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely something we could talk about today. Is there one that stands out more to you right now where you're at?
Well,
There's
I
a
think I think
little.
yeah, I think going for my license and doing private practice, but at the same time I don't want to um miss an opportunity with clinical hours if it makes sense for me to go into a PhD program sooner. If I could talk to somebody in a program already and meet with them, that might be helpful.
Sure.
So
Absolutely. Have you ever had a chance to look at things such as the outlook for both careers or the salary of both careers?
I have not, and I've been real curious about that. So
Okay. Well, let me pull that up real quick and I can find that for you and we can start there. give
Sounds
us
good.
a baseline to start. Let me pull it up real quick. All right, can you see this?
Yes.
All right. Perfect. All righty. So this is the Career One Stop website. It's a great tool for looking at different careers or positions. It shows you there's a lot of different things you can find on here, but for today I just wanted to show you a comparison of if you would continue in your counseling, get your licensure, maybe private practice like you said,
Mhm.
or on the other end if you chose to continue your education and be a teacher. So this is based specifically off of the Pittsburgh area because you said last session or the first session that you are in Washington, but maybe traveling to Pittsburgh for a career wouldn't be too bad.
Mhm. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So from here, I don't know if you can see it very well, but for the clinical counseling aspect, median salary for a year's around $66,830 in Pittsburgh.
Mhm.
And on the other end, for a health specialties teacher for post secondary education, it's about $70,000. So there's not a whole lot of difference as far as the price pay range goes,
Mhm.
but
Yeah, that I am surprised by that. I mean, it's a good that's a good value to look at there, how that compares. So,
absolutely.
yeah.
Does that surprise you? Either one of those?
Well,
What you expected?
um I think it might have been what I was thinking it
Okay.
it was, but I wasn't really sure until just seeing it now. So that really clarifies for me a little bit. So,
Sure. So I know that you are obviously pretty aware of what the clinical counseling route looks like and everything. Do you want to look into the teaching more specifically, or which route would you like to go down?
well, I think I would like to look more into the teaching, just into, yeah, like maybe going on, just
Okay.
because I don't know a lot about that, and it would be good to have that information.
Oh, yeah,
So,
absolutely. It's definitely we can look into that 'cause like I said, I'm sure you have a little bit better understanding of the clinical counselor aspect. So we can take this time to explore the teaching.
great.
All right. So to start with that, I just wanted to share this with you. It's the Occupational Outlook Handbook. It provides some, very specific facts about any career job you want to look up if you're interested in going on here, after our session or anything. It's definitely a great tool to use.
Okay.
So in 2019, for a post secondary teacher, the median pay was about $80,000 per year. Again, from the last one, that was for Pittsburgh area specifically. So that's probably where
Different, yeah, a little
the
bit of different.
range, right? Um, Number of jobs in 2019, 1.3 million. So that's pretty great. Job outlook, 9%. That's much faster than average. So that's definitely something to consider going into this. Seems like you'll, have a pretty good chance of getting a career afterward.
Mhm. That is interesting. I wouldn't have thought that there was a growth there.
Right. So, is there anything on here specifically that you're interested in looking at, whether that's, your role, the environment, how to become one? We looked at the pay a little bit.
Well, I'd like to maybe look at what program,
Okay,
specifically might relate. So,
sure.
yeah.
Absolutely. And as we mentioned, you would like to do school probably in the area you're in right now.
Mhm.
Okay. So let me pull some resources up real quick. All right. So I just wanted to share this with you. It would be, a really good idea for you to attend a school that is K-CREP accredited. So like right now you're attending Cal U for clinical mental health. They're K-CREP accredited, and you obviously know the significance of that.
Mhm.
So the same thing applies for your PhD if you would decide to do that. So let me start at the top, see what the PhD starts. All right, so this is a mixture of master's and PhD, so I do apologize. All right, so the first one that comes up is for Duquesne, so that's pretty close to where you're located.
Mhm.
They have a PhD in counselor ed and supervision. Um, Here's another one down here just a little bit further. I apologize if I'm scrolling very, very fast.
Was it Penn State?
Yeah, there it is. Okay. Yep. So Penn State has a program for PhD again, counselor ed and supervision. So that's a little bit further, maybe definitely further for commuting at least.
Right, right.
Um, but those are probably the main two, just based off of your location specifically. Waynesburg, they have one in counselor ed and supervision also. Are any of those standing out to you
Well,
specifically?
Duquesne, I think more specifically. I don't know if they have like more research there or what might be the options, but that might be a good place for me to start just to look at
Sure.
what they've got, I guess, and how
Right.
I might apply.
Absolutely. So let me pull up Duquesne's page. Yeah, and it would definitely be nice location wise for you.
Mhm.
All right, so here's Duquesne's website. What I did was I went through their academic page and searched for their doctoral programs and found the PhD in counselor ed and supervision.
Okay.
So again, it is K-CREP accredited. Awesome. Definitely something that's really important, as you know. So it says students receive intense training in counseling, teaching, supervision, research, and advocacy. And I know you'd mentioned research before, so that's
Hmm. Yeah,
great.
that is very interesting to me. Yeah.
Um, it's a 60 credit PhD program, it looks like.
So
There's,
kind of like the same amount of time as
right,
the yeah,
right.
like mental health, yeah, masters.
Here's a little interesting thing. I don't know if you have a GA position at Cal, but looks like they have some GA positions for this program as well.
Hmm. That's good to know.
Success of graduates, very successful in obtaining faculty and leadership positions regionally and nationally. So that's awesome.
So if I did want to leave the area, at least have that to
Opportunity,
yeah,
right?
job search with, yeah.
Right. Time to the degree, it says usually within 2.5 years. Some students have earned their degree within 3 years. It involves 9 credits during the fall and spring semesters and 6 during the summer. Is that pretty similar to what you're doing right now then?
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. I've taken like more course load than that, but I
Okay.
think with this type of work, it would be a lot harder to do that. So might
Sure.
take me a little longer, but
Right, right. And then again, off of research, the program emphasizes both qualitative and quantitative research. So that's very interesting to look at also.
hmm. Yeah, that is, I'm glad you pointed that out. That is interesting to check that out.
And I think this is important. Obviously, the program objectives. So the program's grounded in theories of wellness, holism, and development, involve community engagement, are informed by an understanding of systemic context and multicultural theory, focus on core elements of an effective helping relationship, oh my goodness, why can I not talk today?
Emphasize.
Emphasize, geez Louise,
Yeah.
self-awareness, personal development, and experiential learning.
That's that, that's a tongue twister after all this talking.
Oh my goodness. But if you're interested in Duquesne, there is also some admission information that I can provide you with. So right now,
I
I
would
know
love, yeah.
you're not ready to apply obviously at this point, so you can ignore the deadline.
Okay, yeah, I was wondering how often I would, because it needs to be completed by April 1st. Is that right?
Yes, so
Okay.
for a fall
I'm not.
semester, right.
Okay.
For a fall semester, it needs in by April 1st, but
Oh,
you're in the clear right now.
great.
As far as specific requirements, 3.0 GPA, CACREP requirements, so a master's degree in counseling or closely related field. So based off of, your clinical mental health counseling, check, perfect.
Good.
Completed coursework in the CACREP Common Core areas, which CalU includes all of those, so that's good.
Okay.
And completed coursework in a CACREP specialty area. So addictions counseling, clinical mental health, rehabilitation, or school.
Well, that's
Clinical
great. That
mental health, perfect.
Yeah.
So as far as CACREP requirements go, seems like you're pretty set. You just gotta graduate with that master's degree.
Good.
All right. Some other things, GRE general testing. There is an application, so you can download it on their website,
Okay.
fill it out. So it also mentions upon submitting the university application, you'll be asked to submit a resume and a CV, as well as a graduate education essay. And obviously, that's a lot to think about right now. There's specific requirements for the essay and everything. But, if this is a path you would choose to go down eventually, we would be more than welcome to work with you here in the Career Center if you need help working on your resume or the CV or even writing up your essay.
Yeah, that's great. I was actually hoping that I could get, if I do the essay, if I could bring it in and just get some feedback and have somebody go over my materials before I uh, made the application. So,
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. And then lastly, you'll need two recommendations. So it says recommendations must be from individuals who can speak about your academic or professional abilities. Family, friends, and professional colleagues are not acceptable references. So maybe having a couple faculty or supervisors in mind that you've worked close with who have a good understanding of you and your general abilities as a counselor.
mhm, that that's good to keep in mind.
Yeah, that gives you a little bit more time to maybe get close with these individuals and
Yeah, get some feedback and see,
right, absolutely. And then you can submit your transcript from CalU to the email, or you can print it out and send it to their physical address.
Okay.
And then these are international, so you don't need to worry about that. Did you want to look into tuition or aid or even specific faculty or anything today?
Well, I think that's good because maybe I can go and do like a seminar or something there, and maybe they might explain more about the program or something. And um, but this actually gets me started. So
Oh, absolutely. And like I mentioned, you're more than welcome to schedule another session. Doesn't have to be next week, could be months from now, even. And we will definitely help you as much as we can, whether that's helping you with your resume or working on those essays. But absolutely, we'd love to have you back.
great.
Is there anything else for today? Any other questions? Do you feel like you have a pretty good idea of, what it looks like to pursue your PhD from Duquesne?
Yeah, I mean, it sort of gets me started. It gave me an idea of what I need to keep in mind as far as references, and just to know that I have that essay if I want to do that, like how to fit that in time wise. And yeah, so that was helpful. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Well, is there anything else that you want to cover today?
I think that that's everything I can think of. That was really useful.
I apologize. I'm trying to stop sharing my screen. Okay. All right. Well, like I mentioned, feel free to reach back out to us. We're always here. You can schedule an appointment and we can jump right back into where we were left off.
Excellent. Why, thank you very much, Sarah.
You're welcome. It was nice getting to know you and everything.
Thank you.